I've got this Elna Supermatic here that I want to remove the motor from within here. A couple of reasons for that is that I own a semi-industrial version of this model. It sits on a full industrial style table, and with the motor, I'm not sure if the motor's built in or not actually on that one. I think it is. But the belt, the main drive belt down in here, so that's the one that connects the top and bottom shafts on that machine, is broken, and I want to just do a bit of a dry run on this machine because I've never done one before. This machine is it's got a weak motor, so the motor's no good in this. It's not worth fixing up. And the other reason I want to get the motor out is because buried deep down in here is a set of suppression capacitors which can fail, and if they do, in this particular model, looks like the motor's got to come out to replace them. A lot of people would just chop the wires off of a dead suppression capacitor, but that's probably not such a good idea because it can interfere with radio, things like that. Not so much a problem these days, but the other thing it stops from happening is there's some contacts down in here, electrical contacts for the knee controller, and if the suppression capacitors are not there, it can cause arcing across those. The reeds will probably get a better look at those when we get the motor out. So there's a couple of good reasons to replace the suppression capacitors in there if they do blow. So first thing I can see is more than likely we'll actually take the hand wheel off. I've already taken the base off this machine. It's really easy, just three screws hold the base on. Just take those off, take the base off, and undo this hand wheel here. And that hand wheel should just pull straight off there. Now the motor, I've already taken the pulley off in a previous video showing how to replace this pulley. That's why that's missing there. But you can see that the motor's actually hinged just by moving it there. It's hinged at the bottom, and if I push that motor, you can see that it's hinged with this shaft here. So this shaft here has got to come out. I would say this electrical system here has probably got to be removed so that to give it room for that motor to pull out. So I'll make a start by removing those bits and pieces anyway. We'll get rid of this knee lever here too, so that that's not getting in the way, or that's going to have to come off anyway. Now some models don't have the attached knee lever. They have like a little bayonet type fitting there for this knee lever to pop into. So slight differences between models there. Just put the screw back in there so I don't lose it. Just back in there, and 4 screws here. and that gives us access to the electrical here. Now it's fairly obvious, but I'll mention it anyway, is make sure your machine is disconnected from the power when doing this sort of work. Obviously that red wire there is live, and as the yellow wire is the neutral, so yeah, that becomes live as well. So yeah, I'll take note of where these wires are, so we can easily put it back together. Something's kind of melted in here. It's all gooey. It's like well, not melted, broken down, I would say. Sort of a rubber, I think that is, broken down. So it's a bit messy. And there's the all-important earthing wire there that's got to be attached there for safety. So, but anyway, we'll take all this out. That's the earth strap. So, phase comes off the back of the isolating switch. Is it isolating switch? I think might just turn the bulb on and off. Not sure actually. I'll check that. So that's phase. I'll just put the screw back to hold that resistor on in place, so we know where that goes. And then neutral comes down to here. I don't need to take that, just take this one here off. That's the that's the feed for the bulb. One more to come off there. That's this longer one here, other side of the bulb. And that's that whole piece off there now. Screw under there. Okay, so now we're going to have to release this spring here next. Probably just with the long nose pliers there. Bit hard to see in there, but that comes off fairly easily, that spring. And now this, so that spring there is the one that pulls the drive pulley onto the hand wheel. So that's just floating loose there now. So now it's just a matter of extracting the shaft here. And I think once that's out, the whole motor will come free. And there's another spring here, that's for the knee lever return. Okay, so I'll just return or remove that there. Pull off there. That's okay. Probably just hanging there. There's an adjuster screw there that'll be for adjusting the knee lever there. And I think if we punch this, punch that pin out, I think that whole caboodle should come out. So let's try that. I'm using this Allen key mainly because I seem to have misplaced my little punch. I need to go and either get another one or find that one I've lost. But anyway, this I'll do in the meantime. Probably not ideal, but I think it's going to do the job. Oh, that pin's quite loose. That didn't take much at all. here. Just pushed it out. It's just sitting down in here now. That pin there. So yeah, there. Shaft comes out. And I'd expect, yeah, the motor's gonna, so this, all this in here is probably just gonna fall out. Oh, there's a washer, I think, looks like a washer in here maybe, or is that just the other end of the bush? Anyway, pull that out. There's, okay, yeah, there's a wire attached there, obviously. That's actually part of the knee lever control, so that's one of the contacts. Be able to get in there and have a closer look once this motor comes out. That, I suspect, will be all we have to do. Oh, it's actually quite easy. That's easier than I thought it was going to be. Now, it looks like there's a little bent, it's like a thrust washer. I think that would be from in here, just to take up some slack. Thrust washer goes on there. So, let's just have a quick look down in here. There's the bottom end of the belt that connects the top and bottom shaft there. Yeah, that's, see it going down into there. So the top end of that is right up and behind here. Now, I'm not going to cover that, replacing this belt here in this video. I'll make a separate video for that one. But yeah, that's the motor extracted. That was surprisingly easy. Yeah, this motor's no good. Yeah, you can see the commutators actually got like a coating of probably brush material, sorry, carbon maybe. But yeah, that's seen better days. But what I'm concerned with is this capacitor set here. So luckily it's actually got all the diagram and the measurements for the capacitors on there, so you know, just using that information there you could build a new capacitor set, which I'll look at doing. And the other thing that this allows you to do is to get to the motor brushes, and that is just a matter of see if I can zoom in here. The motor brushes, it's a bit of a pity that these can't be checked and replaced without, you know, extracting the whole motor, but anyway, that's the way it's designed. But these are just a little sort of like a little spade connector. Oops. Just a little of a spade type connector that there's slots in the body of the actual brush holder there, so that actually you know, pushes down and holds the brush in there with the little, so these little lugs here go out into the slots just to hold those. So yeah, the brushes are still pretty good. There's still plenty of life left in those, so they'll actually make good spares. Because I think this motor's not really worth doing anything with. So what happens is when you depress the knee lever, this contact here comes along and closes these reed switches in turn. So the harder you push, that's all of them shorted and full, so that's delivering full power. And as you come off, you know, it opens the left hand contacts over here and breaks the contact between those from the left to come off power. So on connects these two, bit more power, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then all 7 full power. So pretty much that's quite a nice tidy way of doing that. And the top of these little reeds here all head out to this resistor here, big resistor pack. So you know, these are all the different, basically all the different speeds, provides all the different speeds here. So yeah, quite nice. Now yeah, so that grey cable heads up into this capacitor set. So yeah, that was turned out to be a lot easier than I thought it was going to be to extract that. And I'll take note of how that capacitor set's set up and be able to replicate that. I think that's quite successful. I mean, that's not a huge job to get that motor out, so that turned out pretty good. Probably quite good for spares. So I'm not sure what's wrong with that though, what's caused this problem. I don't sort of go down into servicing the motors themselves, but there'll more than likely be a break in the wire coils there somewhere, or yeah, I'm certainly no motor expert. I generally leave that up to the motor specialists, so to do those sorts of repairs, but they're getting few and far between to find small motor repairers these days. So, and you know, these can be sent off to be repaired, I guess, but the cost of doing that would be quite high, I would say. Could easily spend, I guess, probably a couple of $100. That's a couple of hundred New Zealand dollars at the, you know, at this stage, maybe 150 US dollars or something like that to repair something like this here. So probably not worth it. Maybe when these machines get a bit rarer and go up in price, it might be worth doing then, but certainly not at this stage. So yeah, hope you liked that video on how to remove the motor from this classic Elna.